Hey everyone, I'm Lisa, Broadway fangirl extraordinaire, and thanks for joining me for another episode of PNC Broadway and Columbus's Broadway Dish. We are so excited to finally have the show come from away here at the Ohio Theater next month. And we're especially excited because the show has such strong connections to Columbus, because it talks about our very own Columbus Zoo and Aquarium and Unga, a bonobo who was stranded in Gander on 9/11 and the days after, and lived out her life right here in Columbus at the zoo. A few weeks ago, we were actually able to go to the zoo, and we were able to chat with Bonnie Harris, who's a native Newfoundlander and helped take care of those animals stranded on the plains, along with Audra Meinelt, who's a curator of the Columbus Zoo's Congo Expedition Region and was working at the zoo 9/11 and helped to take care of Unga. Let's hear more about her story and dive right in. So, Bonnie, tell us a little bit what was going on in Gander on 9/11. How did you find out what was happening that day?
I didn't know what was going on really until I got home lunchtime and heard that, all planes are being landed, and Gander Airport is going to be one of the airports that's going to receive a lot.
Wow. And then at what point did you think, gosh, there might be animals on these planes?
In the afternoon I had thought about it, and but at that time we didn't know, these planes may be taking off in the morning again, or taking off in a couple hours. So I did inquire and was told that there was no animals on board any of the planes. And I got home after work and said to my husband that I called the airport authority, there's no animals. And he said, absolutely not. He'd been working at the airport for over 20 years. And he said, 38 planes, there's one animal at least on those planes. So we had to climb up into the cargo holds and move luggage around in some planes because the animals were in back of the luggage.
Because you were probably just expecting, cats
Dogs
and
and
dogs?
pets.
Yeah.
Dogs and pets.
So at what point did you learn about the bonobos?
That's after the animals had been taken off the planes. We had finished doing the last plane, and when I went back up after supper is when we knew that they were in a holding bay, and walked in there and saw these two large crates, and they were covered at the time, and there was a gentleman sitting right next to them, and the dogs and the dogs started to bark, and that's when the apes started to make their noises too. And I sort of looked over at the corner of my eye, but I knew I had a lot of work to do with the dogs and cats. So one of our contacts found out what was needed for the bonobos, and they made arrangements, I think, to get the romaine lettuce and to get some fresh eggs.
So what challenges presented the keepers in Gander with the bonobos being in crates for 5 days out of habitat? What did they have to do for the animals?
So these crates were amazingly well built, as one might expect with an international flight. And they were very solid, but they actually had removable outer doors that allowed the bonobos full visibility. So we had an outer solid door and then an inner door that was barred. So the bonobos were able to see out and were quite entertained apparently by the dogs and cats. So that was amazing to have. They also had full access to be able to give them food and fluids and things that they needed. The bonobos are so smart, so they were pushing their feces back out to the keepers to keep their crates clean, along with any of the peels.
Nice for that cooperation.
Yes.
So nice that they aided in it. They are fully able to stand up, turn around, and move, lay back down in the crates. Frankly, when they came here 5 days later and we were able to move them into our quarantine facility, they walked out of those crates like they had just walked in them a few minutes before. They seemed very relaxed. We saw no ill effects of the time they had there, but I do think that having their keeper that they knew really well there with them pretty much at all times, I think that that's the key to how everything went as smoothly as it possibly could in an emergency.
That's amazing. And tell us a little bit more about her firstborn son and the tie to the town where his mom spent 5 days.
Sure. So the head keeper at the time of the Congo region did also accompany the shipment from Belgium. So she went over there and got to know them for a few days and then was on the flights with Harry coming back. And she was just blown away by the care. So she knew from the moment that we landed back here that Unga's first baby was going to be named Gander. We had to wait 2 years for that to happen. I think it was a little hard for her. She was fairly impatient to make this, to acknowledgement for this city that had, opened its arms to the world. So we had a couple, questionable, maybe she's pregnant moments beforehand, and every time it didn't pan out, you could just see it. That was just so ready to have Audra have her first baby so that she could, show the citizens of Gander everything that they really meant to her and to the bonobos.
Don't miss Come From Away at the Ohio Theater February 8th through 13th. Get tickets and more information at BroadwayInColumbus.com. And that's it for this week's episode of PNC Broadway in Columbus's Broadway Dish. We'll see you again soon. Bye.